I remember the moment everything shifted. It was late one evening when I found my husband, Kwame, stumbling through the door, reeking of perfume that wasn't mine. The smell clung to him like a shadow, and my heart sank. I had waited up for him, hoping to talk, to understand what was going on. Instead, I was met with a sight that shattered my heart. For weeks, I had sensed something was off. Kwame had grown distant, more interested in his phone than in our late-night talks. I tried to ask him about it, but he would just brush me off, saying he was busy with work. I wanted to believe him. I really did. One night, the silence between us felt so heavy. It was as if a storm was brewing, and I could feel the tension crackling in the air. Instead of confronting him directly, I started an argument. I thought maybe if we fought, he would see how much I cared. I brought up everything I had noticed, the late nights, the secret of phone calls, the way he avoided my gaze. Kwame exploded, denying everything, yelling about how I didn't trust him. His face reddening with anger, telling me that I am imagining things. I fought back, matching his rage, both of us feeding into the chaos. "You're the one who's lying. Just admit it." Days turned into weeks, and our arguments became a sad routine. Each fight left me feeling more drained than the last. He even told me that it's my fault that he is coming home late, because I am annoying him with my silly questions, and that's why he goes to his friend instead. He said he felt good at his friend. That cut like a knife. So one day, I decided to stay silent. I was so tired of the fighting. I didn't want to engage anymore. I stopped asking questions. I thought this might make him realize how much I was hurting, maybe he would notice my pain in my silence. But my silence didn't bring him clarity, it brought him anxiety. Kwame began pacing the house, his mind racing. He started coming home earlier, to see if I was home or to capture me doing something else. He started asking me questions, trying to read my expression, but I wouldn't say a word. If I answered him, it was short and sweet. I could see the frustration building in him, and it was unsettling to watch. "What are you thinking?" he demanded one night, his voice tight with tension. "I'm not thinking anything," I replied. He yelled to me to stop lying. "You're hiding something, you're seeing someone else, aren't you?" His accusations felt absurd, but they also stung. How could he project his guilt onto me? I was the one reaching home early from work, while he was out late, likely with someone else. One evening he came home and found a friend of mine's in the living room. He acted very nice to her, but when she left, he burst out. He told me that he doesn't like my friend, because she is single and she is helping me to find another man, and that she looks like those women on the streets. He doesn't want to see her in the house again. Although I was the one paying the house. He told me that I should make friends with his people only, his friends are good people, and that all my friends were worthless. I tried to make friends with his people, but they are people that only have small talks and a lot of gossips. They are not my type of people. They just sitting there talking nonsense. For me that's a waste of time. I tried to make friends with the woman and opened up with her about what was happening at home, but when my husband came home that day, he was furious, because the woman told her man and the man told my husband what I said. So I stopped talking again. One evening he told me that we were going out with his friends, and that I should try to be nice because I am the one that always making trouble. As we reached the restaurant, I saw the couple. We sat down and I caught the same scent of the perfume. It was the same one. Could it be? Is it a coincidence? I told her that her perfume smells nice and was quite familiar. I asked her the name. My husband's face changed. Her man said that he liked it too, he don't know when she bought it. Attention grew at the table. The whole evening was eerie quiet at the table. The only person that was talking was the man. When we got into the car, my husband started screaming, he started arguing, told me that I had ruined the whole night for his friends, but I was in shock. I had no energy to talk back and I was trying to figure out what all happened just now. We reached home, none of us said a word. Days gone by and not a word, but one evening, the air was so thick with tension, and I could see him wrestling with his thoughts. He doesn't know what I was thinking, or worst what I was planning. So he just shouted, "I don't know what you want from me," and for a brief moment, I almost felt pity. I wanted to scream that I wanted honesty, but I kept quiet, letting him spiral further. As the days passed, the silence stretched longer. I was tired of pretending everything was fine. I wanted him to feel a fraction of the betrayal I felt. That night when I returned from a visit to my sister's, everything changed. I parked my car and walked up the path to our home, feeling a strange mix of dread and determination. But then I saw them, Kwame in our yard, talking with his friend's woman. It was her. The woman whose perfume lingered on him, the one whose name I had whispered to myself in anger during sleepless nights. I stood frozen, heart racing, as I watched them. He looked different with her, so relaxed and happy. It stung like a sharp knife, cutting through the fog of confusion I had been living in. I felt a strange mix of anger and sadness. I marched up to them, wanting to confront him right then, but I just said, "Hi," and stood there with them with the feeling of betrayal seep into all my bones. They stopped talking. Their faces were surprised and terrified because they knew that they had been caught. She decided to walk away. In my younger days, I would start a fight, but with age, you mature and you see that's not worth it. After a few moments of silence, I turned away and went in the house, my mind racing. I needed to collect my thoughts, to plan my next move. I taught myself to not react with emotion, cool down first. It takes time and self-control, to be finally able to do so. When I finally confronted him later that evening, he was stunned. I told him I had seen everything, the two of them, the way he smiled at her. "You don't understand," he stammered, trying to find words, but they fell flat. "I understand perfectly, you betrayed me," I replied, my voice steady. He tried to deny it, claiming it was just a misunderstanding. But I wasn't buying it. I had seen the truth, and it felt like a weight lifting off my chest even as the pain settled in. In the days that followed, I made the decision to separate. The choice was painful, but I knew it was necessary. I needed to reclaim my life, my dignity. Kwame moved out easy. It felt like he was waiting for this opportunity. He went to the same friend's apartment that he has in his yard. As the door closed behind him, I felt an odd mixture of relief and heartbreak. Looking back, I realize how easily trust can slip away. Silence, which I thought would make him see my pain, had instead twisted into a different kind of torment. It exposed us both in ways I never imagined. I felt that I have matured because I learned my lesson. During 2 weeks, the silence that once consumed our home was now filled with echoes of laughter and warmth as I surrounded myself with friends and family who supported me. They reminded me that I was not alone, that I deserved better, but when they all leave, that loneliness was creeping up. By the 3rd week he called me, he wanted to talk. He begged me to come back. I reminded him that he could live his life now, without me annoying him. He told me how much he missed me, and that he wanted me to forgive him and take him back. He also told me that the woman was no good woman and that his friend is blind. His friend put the woman out of the house, but the woman asked him to cook for him one more time so they can talk. After that my friend changed 180 degrees. The woman is in the kitchen preparing a special drink and a dinner. She is thinking by herself that she is going to give him one strong pussycat drink and a powerful meal, so he will marry her. He will be blind to all men that comes to the house. He will give her all his money. Everything she asks for, he will give her. He will eat all her food, even if he feels sick and just get fat. He told me he doesn't understand Andre. Andre was furious when he caught his woman with another man, that's why he put her out of the house. But something must have happened at that dinner. After 3 days, Andre let the woman back in the house and bought a brand new car. They getting married next month. Andre cannot see that the woman is overfeeding him, making him sick. He is just sitting there and let other men come into his house. Now that Kwame has been at Andre, he saw plenty men coming and going. He saw now that the woman was using Andre. I wanted to feel pity, but instead I told him that he was with the woman too. His best friend women. That's against all codes. He told me that he was very sorry, that he made a mistake and he is sorry. So after hearing his words, what do women do? Yep, you guessed it. I took him back, so I haven't learned my lesson. My friends and family were furious that I gave him another chance. They stayed away from me. They told me to not call them anymore when things get rough. Few weeks gone by, it went very well. We were interacting more, trying to patch things back up, but for me there is always that feeling of distrust in him. I didn't try heal myself first, I just went back in the same boat. Until one day, he had to go away for work for 2 days, and there is when things got extremely messy. Facts of some women. They don't like to break up so easily with their partners, they prefer give them another, and another chance, especially if they have lived so many years with them. But at the end of the day, what they are doing is self-torture. Moral of the story. Trust is fragile. It's built on communication and honesty, and once it breaks, it's hard to mend. In relationships, it's essential to speak up about your feelings rather than letting silence breed suspicion. When we choose to stay silent, we may unintentionally push our loved ones away, allowing doubts to fester. Try to listen and try not to judge. Biblical perspective. The Bible teaches us about honesty and the importance of love and trust in relationships. Proverbs 12 verse 22 says, "The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy." Relationships should be founded on truth, and when that foundation crumbles, it can lead to devastating consequences. Stay tuned for part 2. Have you encountered a similar situation like this, or do have opinion about this story? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Your voice can help others who may be going through something similar. Thank you in advance to like, subscribe, and share to my video. I really appreciate it. Your comments will help my algorithm to help push this channel. Until next time, stay blessed.